I think I realised that I was queer when I was quite young.
I think I probably would have been about maybe 7 or 8, and I went to an all-boys school. So in theory, that should be great. In other ways, it's kind of hell.
Well, I didn't know it was gay, but I had a thing with my buddy at the time when I was 10, and we were caught in the girls' toilets at Manly West Primary.
When people kind of ask me this sort of question, it's my only answer is I've always known.
Yeah, from a really young age, just like I didn't want to kiss girls, I wanted to kiss boys. And it was cute.
And it took me years to figure out what was happening when I was 7 or 8, but I just knew I was different. So yeah, it was quite early, I think.
Well, I think I started realising it in 1975, but I just didn't have the words for it.
I sort of knew about male homosexuals, but I had no idea there were female homosexuals.
I think the first time that I realised I was queer was watching Fantastic Four, and Chris Evans came out shirtless, and I was like, hang on.
I relate to The Little Mermaid, in the sense that Part of Your World I truly feel is an anthem for me as someone who is queer, a person of colour, who is, body positive, sitting outside of these realms of what's normal and what's accepted, and wanting to be part of that world for me, was a cathartic thing listening to as a kid.
Probably like 6 or 7, and then it wasn't until I was 14 or 15 when I was like, oh my God, this is real. And then it wasn't until I was 18 that I was like, okay, I can actually allow myself to feel this way and be this way and tell other people.
I met a really hot bi girl when I was 18. So she kind of got the wheels turning.
Late teens kind of hit me, and I was like, I think that's who I am.
I didn't accept that I was queer until maybe like the age of 18, so much later.
So I ended up suppressing a lot of that until quite recently, where I came out as gay and non-binary.
I don't think I realised that I was queer. I think everyone else realised before me.
There was no like aha moment where I was like, oh, bitch is queer.
I think I've always known, but I think I didn't really act upon it until I was in my early 20s.
I think I always knew. But I started exploring at around 26, when I was like, let's just see. Let's just test this and see what happens. Yeah, I haven't looked back, and it's been close to a decade now.
And since then, I've just like been on the train of queerness. Hasn't stopped, hence why Malcolm is here with you today.
The first time I realised I was queer was when I pashed my wife, my now wife. Obviously wasn't my wife at the time. But yeah, we went on to date, and now we've been together for nearly 9 years, and we got married in 2022.
Like, once you accept it for yourself, and once you express it, and once you share it with people who know and love you, it's okay. It really is so much more okay than it was in 78, and thank goodness.
Ooh, my first queer crush, celebrity or real life?
So my first queer crush was probably Leonardo DiCaprio. I was obsessed with Titanic, and honestly, I just wanted to be floating in the ocean on that door with him all day long.
Definitely Beyonce.
It would have been Jacob from Twilight.
Sandra Bullock from Speed. She was amazing and still is. Fine wine.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson.
Jay Lagaya from Play School.
Well, the only ones I can think of are cartoons, which is so embarrassing.
Oh my gosh, Aladdin.
Whoa, Aladdin's
Gay
cute.
Awakening.
Aladdin's cute.
Aladdin.
I can only think of Aladdin right now, and I'd want to think of a person.
Ooh, my first queer crush, probably my 3rd grade English teacher.
Quite young, I was watching Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and I was a little more interested in Shark Boy than I was Lava Girl.
My first queer crush was a boy that I went on Christian camp with, and that was when I realised Jesus wasn't the only boy I could ever fall in love with.
A girl in high school called Megan, and I thought I wanted to be her and be like her, but I guess then when I had my queer awakening, I realised I actually just wanted to be with her.
And there was an article in the newspaper, and it was about Macaulay Culkin, and he was going through like some really bad times with his parents, but he dyed his hair magenta.
I went to Melbourne for a women's dance in, I think, 1972. And I was one side of a dance floor and there was this woman on the other side of the dance floor that had long blonde hair, and I knew I had to take her home.
I cut it out and I put it on my bedroom wall, and my mum kept asking me, why is this on your bedroom wall? Why Macaulay Culkin? And I didn't have an answer for her at that moment in time. I just knew there was something about that picture and that image in him.
And we went home and she turfed the bloke out of the bed and put me in it. It was one of those surreal things that happened in the 70s.
My first queer kiss was a surprise. It was out of the blue. It was a moment at a party as a teenager that may have ended up with a bit of rolling in the grass, literally rolling in the grass.
I think the first time I seriously kissed somebody was a guy who thought he was gay at Gay Lib at Sydney University, and he betrayed me by, taking up with a woman and moving to Melbourne. I don't know what's worse, but yeah.
It wasn't someone I was really particularly interested in. I thought he was attractive. I just wanted to kiss a boy. So yeah, it was a late bloomer, but 23 is when I had my first kiss.
The first proper one was kind of with a friend of mine. And yeah, it was a bit of a light bulb moment.
Yeah, it was like, it just felt different and it felt good.
There was something really beautiful about that moment I shared. It's a secret moment, as often ends when you're young, but something nice.
It was a very good, very long kiss. Yeah, I think we were asked to leave at the bar at a certain point just because we'd outstayed our welcome.
I've never kissed a boy before. Like, what if we kissed for like practice? And she was like, okay, you can kiss me and I'll give you feedback. And I kissed her and her feedback was, it was good. There was just too much teeth. And I was like, noted.
I remember it so well, and it was at this spot on Parramatta Road, like right next to a hedge, and every time I drive past it there's still like a little like, ooh.
We were talking and she said, oh, have you never kissed a girl? And I was like, no, not really. And she was like, great, let's make out. And we did. And then I was like, hang on a minute, that doesn't feel weird at all.
She just like came up to me and then it happened and I was like, oh, okay, that happened. That was cool. And that was kind of it. It kind of just hit me by surprise.
He was like, can I kiss you? I'm like, yeah, why not? And that was a whole moment.
Was he cute?
It felt amazing. It felt right. Didn't feel as scary when it actually happened.
It was everything I thought it would be and how it was supposed to feel. And it was like I ripped off the Band-Aid. And it was like, why didn't I just do that sooner?
The feeling of the first kiss was absolutely amazing, and I felt true to myself.
I don't think I've had a proper first one yet. You know, those rom-com kisses, you know, the ones where you like kick up your leg or like you're in the rain and like it's pouring and you're like drenched. I haven't had one of those kisses yet, but fingers crossed, here's hoping.